This story is about terrifying storms, massive floods, and deadly sharks that begin hunting people in a submerged city. It starts with a girl named Dakota, who is at home talking on the phone when she suddenly hears news about a huge storm approaching. As soon as the warning spreads, the entire town goes into panic. Shops begin to close, people hurriedly pack their belongings, and families start leaving their homes to escape the danger. However, Dakota steps outside her building, looking unusually calm. One of her neighbors urgently tells her to leave, but she refuses. To Dakota, this house is not just a place to live, it carries the memories of her mother, who has passed away. Being there makes her feel close to her, and because of that emotional attachment, she refuses to leave, even if it means risking her life. The scene then shifts to another character named Dee, who is spending time by a lake with her two brothers. The older brother, Ron, seems more mature, while the younger one, Will, is playful and carefree. They are enjoying themselves when their stepfather, William, suddenly arrives. His behavior immediately reveals that he is not a kind man. Although he adopted the three children, he shows no love toward them. Instead, he is always angry, constantly scolding them and treating them poorly. His harsh attitude suggests that there is a deeper reason behind his behavior, something that will be revealed later in the story. Next, we meet Lisa, a pregnant woman driving alone, trying to make her way home. She is on the phone with her mother, who is very worried about her condition. Lisa is heavily pregnant, and the baby could be born at any moment. On top of that, her husband has already left her, making the situation even more stressful. As she continues driving, she suddenly finds the bridge ahead closed, which causes her to panic. She starts wondering how she will get home. Along the way, she sees people running away with their belongings, trying to escape the storm. This makes her even more anxious, but she tries to calm herself by thinking it might just be a small storm that will pass quickly. Unfortunately, she is completely wrong. Finally, we are introduced to Edward, a marine biologist who studies and monitors the ocean. He had already sensed that something unusual was coming, and now official reports confirm his fears. A massive storm is approaching, one powerful enough to flood entire cities. Realizing the danger, Edward quickly panics and calls Dakota. She is his niece, and after his sister passed away, he feels responsible for her. He urgently warns her that the storm is extremely dangerous and that the city will soon be flooded. However, Dakota still refuses to leave. Seeing her determination, Edward reluctantly tells her to at least stay inside her mother's house. But before he can fully explain what might happen next, the situation is already beginning to get worse. Edward's warning ends with a promise: if anything goes wrong, he will come to save Dakota. But soon after, everything begins to fall apart. The storm arrives, and it is far more than just heavy rain. Powerful winds tear through the city, and violent waves begin to rise. Then the worst possible disaster happens: the dam breaks. The moment it collapses, massive amounts of seawater rush into the city with unstoppable force. Streets are instantly flooded, cars are swept away, and buildings begin to suffer damage as water destroys everything in its path. At the same time, Lisa is still stuck on the road. A truck driver stops her because a large fallen tree is blocking the way ahead. He advises her to turn back, but before she can react, the floodwater starts rushing toward them at incredible speed. In desperation, Lisa decides to drive over the tree. She accelerates, hoping to escape, but her car crashes into it instead. The truck driver tries to run, but he fails to get away in time, and is swept away by the powerful current. Lisa's car begins to float uncontrollably and eventually crashes into another tree, leaving her completely trapped. She is now stuck in a terrifying situation, able to escape the car, yet not safe inside it either. However, an even bigger danger is about to emerge. The truck that crashed nearby was carrying raw meat, which spills into the floodwater, spreading blood everywhere. This creates a deadly signal in the water, as sharks can smell blood from great distances. Drawn by the scent, sharks begin to move toward the flooded city. Meanwhile, William is at home, sitting comfortably in the basement with his wife, enjoying a drink. They are completely relaxed, believing their house is waterproof and that they are safe from the storm. They show no fear, unaware of the danger building around them. Elsewhere, reporters gather outside Edward's office, eager to get information about the storm. They push him for answers, but Edward insists that it is too early to confirm anything. However, one reporter mentions that television news is exaggerating the situation, claiming that the storm will be deadly and that sharks could swim into the city. The reporters dismiss it as sensationalism, not realizing that their so-called fake news is about to become a terrifying reality. Outside, the flood has taken over everything. At Dakota's house, the windows suddenly shatter, and water begins pouring inside. Not long after, water also starts entering William's house. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Ron quickly warns William that they need to prepare. He tells him that there are life jackets in the car, and that they will need them very soon. At the same time, two men in a small boat are moving through the flooded streets, trying to rescue stranded people. They hear Lisa screaming for help and rush toward her. One of the men reassures her, telling her not to worry because they will save her. Lisa tells them that she is pregnant, which makes the situation even more urgent. The man then asks his friend to go and bring a cutting tool to free her from the car, but just as his friend turns away, something strange happens. The water suddenly moves violently, and he is pulled underwater without warning. The man is confused, not understanding what just happened. Moments later, his friend resurfaces, but something is terribly wrong. His hand has been completely torn off. He runs toward his companion in panic, but before he can reach him, a shark suddenly appears, grabs him from behind, and drags him back into the water. The horrifying scene unfolds in front of Dakota, who is watching everything from her window. Shocked and terrified, she screams out a warning there is a shark in the water. Meanwhile, Lisa remains trapped, facing a nightmare that is only getting worse. The situation continues to grow more terrifying by the second. Lisa is completely shaken, watching the horror unfold around her. Nearby, the truck driver who was swept away earlier suddenly regains consciousness. Struggling to survive, he manages to break open his vehicle door in an attempt to escape, but before he can get far, the shark attacks again, killing another man in seconds. Everything is happening so quickly that it feels unreal, as if the city has turned into a nightmare. At the same time, Edward receives confirmation that the dam has collapsed and the entire city is now flooded. Realizing this, he immediately understands that Dakota is in serious danger. With no other way to reach her, he makes a deal with the reporters who are waiting outside his office. They are desperate for a story, and Edward uses that to his advantage. He tells them that if they take him near Dakota's house, he will give them the exclusive story they want. Seeing the opportunity, they agree, and together they set off toward the flooded city. Meanwhile, William and his wife finally decide to leave their house, grabbing life jackets as they step outside. But the moment they enter the water, disaster strikes. A baby shark suddenly attacks William, injuring him badly. Before they can react, a much larger shark, the mother, appears and attacks William's wife, killing her instantly. Inside the house, Ron, Dee, and Will are trapped, surrounded by rising water filled with sharks. Panic spreads among them as they try to think of a way out. Dee attempts to close a door to block the water, but a shark pushes against it from the other side. She struggles to hold it shut but slips and falls, only to be caught just in time by Ron. Realizing they cannot stay there forever, the siblings begin to plan their escape. Ron comes up with an idea to use meat as a distraction. If they throw it into the water, the sharks might focus on it, giving them a chance to reach the car safely. However, they quickly realize that there is no meat available upstairs. Dee remembers that William keeps all the meat stored in a fridge in the basement. The plan now depends on reaching the basement. But there is a serious problem: a shark is already swimming inside the house. If it finds them, they will not survive. Back at Dakota's house, things are just as dangerous. A large tree has crashed into the building, damaging it badly. Outside, Lisa is overwhelmed with fear and pain, screaming for help. Dakota hears her cries from inside the house, but is too frightened to step out. Knowing that sharks are swimming in the floodwater, Lisa desperately pleads with her, begging for help and reminding her that she is pregnant and wants her baby to live. Hearing this deeply affects Dakota. Having grown up without her own mother, she cannot bear the thought of another child facing the same fate. Gathering her courage, she picks up a knife and decides to help Lisa, despite the deadly risk. Carefully stepping into the dangerous water, Dakota climbs onto Lisa's car and begins cutting away the branches, trapping her. After a tense struggle, she finally manages to free Lisa and bring her safely back into the house. Once inside, Lisa insists that they cannot just wait for rescue, as no one may come in time. They need to signal for help. Dakota agrees and takes a curtain to the roof, where she writes a large help sign, hoping that a rescue helicopter will spot them. As time passes, Lisa's condition worsens, and her labor pains intensify. Dakota realizes that the baby could be born at any moment, but delivering it there is far too dangerous. They must find a way to escape before it is too late. Meanwhile, Edward and the reporter team reach the edge of the flooded city. The water has completely taken over, making it impossible to continue by car. Since Dakota's house is still far away, they switch to a small boat and continue their journey through the dangerous waters. Back at Ron's house, Ron prepares to go down to the basement to retrieve the meat for his plan. Suddenly, William reappears from the water. He is badly injured but still alive, having somehow survived the earlier shark attack. Despite his condition, he orders Ron to go outside and find help. Ron refuses, explaining that the water is filled with sharks and escape is nearly impossible. As Ron looks around for something to treat William's wounds, he discovers a hidden letter. The truth is, shocking, the government has been paying William money every month to take care of the children, but instead of caring for them, he has been starving and neglecting them. It becomes clear that he only adopted them for financial gain. Realizing that Ron now knows his secret, William panics and attacks him, but Ron fights back bravely. In the struggle, Dee steps in and kicks William hard, pushing him into the water. Within seconds, a shark appears and finally kills him. As the shark becomes distracted with its prey, a small window of opportunity opens, giving the siblings a chance to act. As the shark remains busy devouring William, Ron seizes the opportunity and rushes down to the basement. There, he finds pieces of raw meat along with a box of dynamite. Acting quickly, he comes up with a risky plan. They tie the meat to the dynamite and throw it into the water. As expected, the shark smells the meat and swims toward it, swallowing it whole. Seconds later, a powerful explosion echoes through the house, instantly killing the shark. With the immediate danger gone, the siblings finally have a chance to escape. They swim out safely and make their way to the car, using the brief moment of safety to get away from the flooded house. Meanwhile, Lisa tells Dakota about a small rescue boat outside the same one left behind by the men who were killed earlier. If they can reach it, they might finally escape. However, Lisa is in too much pain to move, as her condition has become critical. Realizing this, Dakota decides to go alone and bring the boat to her. She prepares carefully, taking a flashlight and filling a bucket with raw meat from her fridge. Knowing that sharks are nearby, she plans to use the meat to distract them. As she steps into the water, her plan works exactly as intended. Each time a shark comes close, she throws a piece of meat away from her, luring it in the opposite direction. Slowly and carefully, she makes her way toward the boat. Just when she reaches it, a new problem arises. She runs out of meat. At that very moment, a massive shark appears right in front of her. Despite the danger, Dakota does not panic. She remains completely still, controlling her fear. Her calmness confuses the shark, and after a tense moment, it loses interest and swims away. Taking advantage of this, Dakota climbs onto the boat, where she finds a fishing spear gun. Grabbing it quickly, she heads back toward the house, knowing that Lisa is running out of time. Inside the house, the situation has become even worse. The structure is breaking apart as water floods every corner. Lisa is floating on a mattress, trying to stay above the rising water. Using a stick for support, she manages to climb slightly higher, but the pain becomes unbearable. In the middle of this chaos, she goes into labor and gives birth to her baby right there in the water. Blood quickly spreads around her, and it's sent to tracks nearby sharks, putting both her and the newborn in extreme danger. Holding her baby high above the water to keep it safe, Lisa grips a sharp stick, preparing to defend herself. When a shark suddenly attacks, she bravely stabs it directly in the eye. The injured shark retreats in fear. At the same time, Dakota arrives and notices another shark speeding toward Lisa. Without hesitation, she aims the spear gun and fires, killing the shark instantly. She quickly brings the boat closer, trying to rescue Lisa. But just as Lisa is about to climb in, a giant shark suddenly appears and violently flips the boat, throwing them back into danger once again. Just when it seems all hope is lost, Edward finally arrives in his boat. He carries a special device that emits a powerful signal designed to repel sharks. Dropping it into the water, the device creates an unbearable sound that forces the sharks to retreat. One confused shark attempts to attack Lisa and Dakota, but another fleeing shark collides with it, pushing it away. Edward quickly pulls both Lisa and Dakota onto his boat, finally bringing them to safety. Miraculously, Lisa's newborn baby is also safe and unharmed. After escaping the flooded city, Lisa video calls her mother to show her the baby. Overwhelmed with relief and joy, they both cry happy tears, finally feeling safe after everything they have endured. Although the entire city has been devastated by the flood, a few brave survivors remain: Dakota, Lisa, Ron, Dee, and Will. They survived not by luck alone, but because they never gave up hope and kept fighting for their lives until the very end. The story concludes on this emotional and powerful moment, leaving behind a message of courage, survival, and resilience.